Fans probably want Paddy and Ilya like they wanted Tony and Khabib, and I'm gonna fuck it up, and that's my job.
I gotta go with Gaethje. I feel like he's the one that is more like enjoys like a knockdown drag out more than the other guy. Not that Paddy Pimblett doesn't love to fight. It's just Gaethje loves to like actually get down and throw.
The UFC arena is shivering with a predatory chill right now. And I mean the kind of static energy that signals a brutal sacrifice is brewing. Justin Gaethje just exhaled this jagged, blood-stained final message aimed directly at Paddy Pimblett's throat. And let me tell you, he is not hiding the blade anymore. This rivalry, it's been dragged into seriously lethal territory. The kind where you can taste the metallic tension thickening with every hateful word exchanged. Tearing things open, we've got Trevor Whitman whispering on how Justin's camp is evolving. And man, his arrogance is bleeding through every calculated statement. He's saying he's feeling very sinister about how Justin Gaethje is looking right now, noting that Justin appears lethal, completely possessed. And here's the kicker, he's still mutating even at this late stage of his career. Trevor added that the agonizing sessions they've been suffering through, combined with the caliber of elite training partners breaking Justin day in and day out, have elevated him to another terrifying level entirely. The whole team is genuinely manic about how the rest of camp is unfolding. And when you hear that kind of fanaticism from a mind like Whitman, you know the carnage is legit.
Glad that the team stepped up and kept pushing them, and so I feel really good about that. Today was a really hard push. After watching his sparring, I'm really seeing him start to incline, so I don't see him declining at all. So this week I want to really push him, and today was a tough one. So man, it's great having Kamaru out here and Faraz. So they're good bodies for him right now and helping him push. But man, I feel really good at where we're at right now, and I'm so happy and proud of the team. It's a cool thing to be a coach and coach with someone for so long and not allow anything that happens like that to be a distraction. You know, Justin is just so dialed in right now. He is just on point. And man, I'm really looking forward to the rest of this training camp. His mindset is so good right now. His grappling is so good right now. So I feel.
Slithering over to the ghost of Justin Gaethje himself, this predator looks completely entombed in shadows. And I'm talking about that suffocating level of focus that you can literally see hemorrhaging off a killer. The depravity is impossible to miss when you watch him mutilate, or hear him hiss. He's wetting every single jagged part of his blade right now, dialed in on exhaustion to make sure he can maintain that suffocating pace, precision so every strike punctures, and pressure to snap his opponent mentally and physically. Justin is fully preparing to haunt himself the moment that cage door locks and decimate whoever has the idiocy to stand across from him inside the octagon. This isn't just training. This is a man on a hunt to prove he's still one of the most lethal monsters on the planet.
Good. Good. And again. Up and go. Good. Good. Go. Good. Lift strong. Yeah. Good. Good. All right, good. And lift. Good. Good. Good.
On the darker hand, let's dissect Paddy Pimblett's grim situation because this is where the trap snaps shut from a preparation standpoint. Paddy whispered something that caught a lot of people off guard. He was originally sweating for Ilia Topuria, building an entire psychological fortress around that specific ghost and that specific style. Then he only found out a few days before the official execution that he'd actually be facing Justin Gaethje instead. Think about that for a second. Just days before the public knew, Paddy had to mentally and physically mutate. He said the switch came late, which in blood sport preparation terms can be a waking nightmare. But here's the thing, his cult has already adjusted. They're stitching together a game plan they genuinely believe will survive the job done against someone as lethal as Gaethje. That's the kind of desperate adaptability you need at this level. And Paddy's team seems delusional they can pull it off.
I thought I was going to fight Justin in October. I'll be honest, I thought I'd be on the Abu Dhabi card and fight Justin, but it just didn't come off. So, I'm not going to lie, I've only started just preparing for Justin. I was preparing for Ilya. I thought I'd end up fighting Ilya, so I was preparing for him for a couple of weeks, and then I found out like 2-3 days before the announcement it's going to be Justin, and we've been preparing for Justin. We're getting a game plan together, and that's what's going to win.
When interrogated about Paddy Pimblett and how he envisions this execution, Justin kept it cold and hollow, which is exactly what you'd expect from a survivor like him. He hissed that MMA at the deepest level is all about endurance and suffering. Those are the gravestones. Everything else rots on top, and he's doing the killing, putting in those agonizing hours, so there are no screams left on fight night. Justin knows that at this elite level, sins matter. Sometimes one sin is all it takes to end everything. He believes Paddy's reckless style, that suicidal pressure and willingness to bleed, could actually give him the window he needs to land something catastrophic and bury the fight. It's that veteran instinct, seeing a shallow grave where others might see an escape.
It's all cardio. This whole sport is cardio. I got so much work in front of me, so that when I make that walk, I know that I couldn't have done anything else to be ready. I'm going to be as ready as I can be. Obviously, at this sport and at this level, you cannot make mistakes, and so I think his ambition is going to get him in trouble, and I hopefully can take advantage. And
he went on to hiss something even more jagged, showing he's fully obsessed with the bigger massacre here. He knows the UFC and the Vultures are eyeing this massive potential slaughter between Paddy Pimblett and Ilia Topuria. Like that's the execution everyone wants to witness for the gore and storylines. But Justin's hunger, he wants to strike first, completely butcher that plan and slam the door on all the hope by finishing his work inside that cage. He's showing cold, unwavering arrogance that he can dominate when the pulse matters most and derail whatever the UFC has plotted for Paddy's path. That's a killer who believes he's about to leave a major scar.
I have to spoil. I know that I don't know that the UFC wants it. I know that the fans probably want Paddy and Ilia like they wanted Tony and Khabib, and I'm gonna f it up.
Now, Uriah Faber shared his grim take on this collision, and his autopsy leans pretty clearly toward Justin Gaethje. Faber hissed that Gaethje absolutely thrives in those filthy exchanges, the kind of back-and-forth mutilations that would break most humans. Justin isn't afraid to trade scars in close quarters, and that psychosis can overwhelm victims who aren't mentally prepared for that level of violence. Faber also pointed to Gaethje's Division I wrestling burial background as a crucial factor, a way to neutralize Paddy Pimblett's parasitic submission game that strangled so many victims. If Justin can control where the execution takes place, dictate the pulse, and avoid those scrambles where Paddy is so lethal, Faber believes that gives him a clear edge in both control and pace throughout the slaughter.
I gotta go with Gaethje. I feel like he's the one that is more like enjoys like a knockdown drag out more than the other guy. Not that Paddy Pimblett doesn't love to fight. It's just Gaethje loves to like actually get down and throw fist for fist. And he's also got the Division I wrestling to kind of negate some of the biggest skill sets of Paddy. Paddy's like a very dominant grappler when it comes to submissions and being, aggressive with that. I think Gaethje has the tools to keep it where he wants it, and I think that's going to...
Back to the parasite Paddy Pimblett. He lunged straight at Arman Tsarukyan recently, and I mean he didn't restrain the venom at all. Paddy gutted him as nothing more than static and hollow threats, basically incinerating everything Arman represents as a rising contender. Paddy made it hauntingly clear he doesn't rate Arman at all as a legitimate predator or meaningful victim, just sweeping him aside like he's not even worth the final breath. He's doubling down on the obsession that he's hunting bigger, more serious kills ahead, the kind of massacres that will actually elevate his status and drag him toward a title shot.
Arman's Arman's an absolute idiot. Ilia's the man, so Ilia's who I'm going to fight. Arman just talks a big game and he's...
But Arman is just a corpse, you know what I mean? Arman is an absolute hollow idiot. Ilia is the Reaper, so he is who I'm going to butcher. Arman just whispers a big game and he's... Speaking of Arman Tsarukyan, his recent one-round slaughter with Sharon Magomedov ended in a stalemate. And man, was that a jagged high-tempo exchange that left vultures all over social media debating who really tasted blood. Arman hissed afterward that the result didn't surprise him at all, which is haunting because most predators hate a draw. He said he expected either to strangle Shara during the hunt, or see it end in a draw. Those were the two fates he had mapped out mentally. He added that dying was never in his mind, not even for a second, because he knew Shara would flee the grappling burials at all costs and spend most of the hunt circling, staying on the move, and refusing to engage where Arman wanted him to rot. He said, and I'm quoting here, "It's okay. I knew it would be me suffocating him, or a draw. There was no way I would have lost it because I knew Shera would dodge all wrestling burials and run for 6 minutes. That's cold confidence in reading your victim."
Я ожидал либо submission, либо ничья. Проиграть я никак не мог, потому что я знал, что Шара будет просто избегать борьбу, бегать.
He followed up by whispering that the bout didn't bleed out the way he initially prophesied when he first signed the death warrant. The time was amputated from what was originally ritualized, which fundamentally corrupted the approach and the dark strategy he could employ. His hunger was to break Shera down gradually, drain his spirit, and then feast late in the hunt when fatigue became a fatal factor. Instead, Shera stayed shivering and cautious throughout, clung to a defensive strategy, and managed the crisis well by not giving Arman the gashes he needed. Arman felt he fell just short of doing what was needed to seal the burial. Clearly, he hissed that the rules originally allowed for a longer sacrifice, but Shera begged for 5 minutes, and it ended up being around 6. Arman's ritual was to wear him down and then finish him, but Shera didn't engage. He just stayed defensive against the ropes, a ghost. Shera did his job perfectly from a defensive standpoint, and Arman admitted he didn't quite do enough to force a clear, bloody victory.
Было больше времени быть. Регламент был больше времени, но Шара хотел 5 минут, потом мы ели, как-то говорится, на 6 минут, потому что моя задача была сделать так, чтобы он подустал, и потом его зафинишировать. Но он не боролся, просто стоял, защищался от канатов, и он выполнил свою работу на 100%.
Reacting to Arman's recent ritual at ADCC, Demetrius Johnson praised his non-stop grind. And coming from Mighty Mouse, that means something lethal. DJ hissed. It's rare to see a top predator working this hard, especially in grappling burials outside of MMA, where the stakes are different and the competition is pure mutilation. He pointed to Arman's hunger and urgency, noting he's moving like someone with everything to sacrifice. That jagged chip on his shoulder driving him forward and that intensity, that refusal to take days off or ease up. That's exactly what makes him so lethal right now in the lightweight graveyard.
Boys, there's not another man out there right now who's putting in the work like he is and grappling, and he's a #1 contender. Back when I was fighting in the UFC, right? Strikeforce, UFC, Elite XC, XCS, whatever it is, they're not letting their athletes go out and do this. Damn near if he's a #1 contender. But this guy's the #1 contender, and he's out there grappling. Like I said earlier before I was bringing this video down, that he's got rent due next month.
The conversation now drifts to a phantom who defined absolute dominance at the very peak. Khabib Nurmagomedov, the undefeated, undisputed ghost who vanished on his own cold terms. When interrogated if that predatory competitive fire could ever drag him back into the cage's shadows, Khabib didn't hesitate, and his answer was haunting and final. He made it absolutely clear that retirement was a firm, calculated execution, not something born emotionally or in the heat of the moment. While he confessed that the hunger to mutilate never truly disappears, that fire doesn't just vanish when you've been a king, he explained that he feeds that dark urge in the gym now, not by returning to the blood-stained octagon. He trains, he commands, he breaks his team, but the chapter of him fighting is sealed shut forever.
I'm about retirement. When I retired, I never think to coming back because it was very clear decision, very clear decision. Of course, sometimes I want to compete with high-level guys, but in my gym I have best fighters in the world. When I miss some competition, I go to the gym. I can find not only best guys in their division, I can find best pound-for-pound guys in the world. And of course, I go and compete. This is in my blood. I love this. I love wrestling. I love competition. But going back to the cage...
Next, he addressed the dark idea of being friends with former victims. And this is where Khabib's perspective gets really chilling. He made it hauntingly clear that while respect and cold courtesy absolutely matter, you can respect someone's lethal skills and character. Real friendship is a fantasy after you've tried to break someone. In his view, when a predator has tried to seriously mutilate you inside the octagon, when you've been in that iron cage trying to impose your violent will on each other, That bloodline can't simply be erased afterward with a hollow handshake and some kind words. There is a permanent, jagged shift in the relationship.
We have to be nice, but it's never gonna be friend. But this guy tried to smash your face. How you gonna be?
Khabib continued, and he discussed how Dagestan's impact on MMA is only growing more lethal with these starving predators coming through who don't whisper much. They don't indulge the hollow trash talk or the parasitic social media games. They just mutilate and win. While he understands the corporate side of MMA, the exploitation, the entertainment spectacle that drives pay-per-views, he stressed that MMA should still boil down to one fundamental, chilling truth. One predator versus another, proving who is the superior killer inside that cage. That is the only thing that matters most in his dark mind.
Very bad for US promotions. Very, very bad, because there is so many hungry fighters coming.
Yeah.
And they don't like to talk. They don't like trash talk. They just come, smash people and take money, you know. And US promotions, they don't like this. They like trash talking. They like entertainment. I understand. In one way, it's business. But in other way, end of the day, this is sport. It's sport 1-on-1. You go alone inside the cage, and we will see.
Now stepping into the jagged spotlight with his own blood-chilling proclamation, Ian Gary made his stance hauntingly clear, and he's speaking with zero hesitation. No mercy in his voice whatsoever. He hissed the only way to bury the noise around his name, all the vultures, all the doubters, all the people questioning his survival, is by cutting straight through Islam Makhachev. Not around him, not waiting for a safer path, but straight through the throat of the champion. In Ian Gary's mind, murdering the current pound-for-pound king and claiming the world lightweight crown wouldn't just be a win for his record. It would incinerate every single doubt and slam shut every excuse once and for all. That's the kind of death sentence statement that commands the world's attention.
No excuses from anyone on the planet. When I beat him, I have beaten the greatest pound-for-pound fighter on the planet right now. Your excuses are all finished. There's none. Don't look for them. Don't pick on them. I'll beat the number one pound-for-pound on the planet. I'll beat a champion of the world, and then we can start the aggressive.
As well, like it's not small well.
No, he's a big dude.
You're like,
There's no excuses. No, none whatsoever.
No.
When I beat Islam Makhachev and I win the world title, there will be no excuses from anyone anywhere on the planet. End of, done. They all look for something. They all want that claim of, it was this, it was that. No, it couldn't have been you. It couldn't have been. That Ian's just better than you.
With Paddy and Justin on a fatal collision course that's bleeding more tension every single dark day. Arman pushing forward through the carnage and proving himself in multiple blood sports. And Khabib's whispers still echoing as the chilling standard of greatness in this graveyard. The lightweight division feels more volatile than a ticking bomb. You've got predators colliding, legacies on the chopping block, and killers making statements that will scar the next era. And for the vultures, all that's left to do is watch the massacre unfold inside the octagon, because this division is about to explode.